Hello, everybody. So we are moving on with our chapter on polynomials. So up until this point, you have been able to classify by naming them, right? Giving it a first and last name, like a quadratic trinomial. And then you simplified expressions by adding and subtracting them. So now the next logical thing we're going to do is multiply our polynomials. So we have a few different strategies to go about this, all right? So this first part is a review. This is just a review of our last section. So I think right now it would be a good idea for you just to pause the video. I'm going to go through these, but then you can fast forward it till the end to see if your answers match with mine, because this is a review. So you're going to simplify them by adding or subtracting, and then you're going to give them their names by their degree and try and how you classify it as a mouthful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. So again, when you add, you just simply combine like terms. So my x squareds, I have 4 plus 8 for a total of 12 x squareds. And now I have a plain old x and a plain old x here, so 5 plus 4 is 9. Okay, so that should be your simplified binomial. Now if we label it, our highest degree is a 2, so you could say degree of 2, or it's quadratic. And since there's two terms, it's a binomial. Perfect. Our next one. Okay, we're subtracting. So remember to distribute that -1. So write the first one exactly how you see it. Now -1 times 2a cubed to make it a -2a cubed. -1 times -a is a positive a. And a -1 times -5 is a positive 5. Now from here, folks, add our like terms. 3a cubed minus 2a cubed is just an a cubed. Your a's, 4 plus 1 is 5a. And then we just have our lonely little 5 over here. We can't combine it to anything, so that's how it stays. Okay, now our degree. What's our highest degree, you guys? It's a 3, which we know is called a cubic. And then since there's 1, 2, 3 terms, it is a trinomial. One more, another subtraction. So we're going to write the first one exactly how we see it. And now we distribute. So -1 times 3 n to the fourth is -3 n to the fourth. -1 times -n cubed would be a positive n cubed. And then -1 times positive 8 is -8. From here, add our like terms. Any other n to the fourth? Yep, right there. So 8 minus 3 is 5 n to the fourth. Our cubes, -2 plus 1 is -1 n cubed. Our squares, 4n squared. I don't have the other ones, so it just gets to be by its lonesome. And then tack on that -8. Okay, now if we look, our degree is a 4. Remember, that is a quartic. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. We don't really have a name for that, so we just say quartic polynomials. Remember, poly means many. So polynomial just means many terms. Okay, awesome. I hope that went okay for you. So again, that was a review from earlier in this week. Now a little bit more review, you guys, as we haven't distributed in a while. So let's practice that. So this is kind of like level 1 of our multiplication that we'll do today. So really, I don't know if you ever realize this, but you are really taking a monomial times a binomial. And we call that the distributive property, okay? So we're taking one term and distributing it into the binomial. So we have 2 times x and get 2x. 2 times -4 is -8. And we're done. Let's try another one. C times c would be c squared. C times 7 would be 7C. And our last one, 5F times F squared. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 there. So 5 times 1 is 5. How many F's will we have? 3. 5F times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Tack on that F. There we go. Good work. Okay, so again, that should look semi-familiar to you. But now we're going to take it to that next level, that new thing, that thing that we're going to be working on today, and that's multiplying two binomials. So do you guys see how this is a little different from what we were doing? So here's a binomial, and here's a binomial, and we're going to multiply them together. So we first show you a visual way, so maybe you can kind of understand what's happening. So you can use this square method, okay, the table method. And what you do is you give yourself a table like this, and then you insert your pieces into the tops and sides of the table. So the 2x minus 3, and then make sure you take that negative sign with your numbers. My x is positive, so it stays there, and then plus 5, so it's a positive 5. And now what you do, folks, is you multiply each new box or each new cell. So for this box here, I line it up. I'm going to take 2x times x. So 2x times x would be 2x squared. Now I'm going to go to the box beneath it. Well, what lines up in that box? The 2x and the 5. So 2x times 5 is 10x. Let's do this box over here. I'm going to take negative 3 times x and get negative 3x. And then this bottom box, this blue one, negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Okay? So now from here, we're going to add any like terms. So I'm just going to start with my highest exponent. My highest exponent that I see is a squared. Do I have any other x squareds? I don't. So it's going to be 2x squared. Now I'm going to go to my x's. What x's can I combine? Well, if we notice, folks, here's an x and here's an x. So what's 10x minus 3? That'd be 7x. And then we can't combine our 15 with anything, so just minus 15. So that is one way to multiply binomials. For me, I think it's kind of cumbersome, it's kind of clunky, not a big fan. But for some people, they like the visual aspect of it. So you can do it this way. But if you're trying to be efficient, which eventually I think you'll gravitate towards this method anyways, we have a method called the FOIL method, okay? So now the FOIL method is an acronym. So FOIL stands for something. So the F stands for first. The O stands for outer. The I stands for inner. And then the L stands for last. But what does that actually mean? So let's break it down. So the F stands for first. That means I'm going to take the first terms of each binomial times each other. So I'm going to get 2x times 4x. So 4x times 2x is going to give us 8x squared. Okay, now we're going to go to the outers. That means the outside ones, the ones on the outside. So 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. Now the inside are these two right next to each other right here. Those are your inners. So 3 times 4x is 12x. And then finally your lasts. That is the very last ones in both binomials. So that 3 and negative 5. And we know 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Now from here, it's the same kind of thing. We have to add our like terms. Well, the only thing we can really add together are these two. So our final answer should be 8x squared. If I combined 10x, negative 10x, and 12x, it should be a positive 2x minus 15. Again, folks, I know this is new. I realize this might be kind of confusing. But I think once you do a few more examples together, you're really going to understand what's going on. So let's try a few more examples of this FOIL method, okay? So remember, I'm just going to write this out first, outside, inside, last. Okay, so if I start with my first, I'm going to take x times x and get x squared. Now I'm going to take my outsides. So x times negative 6 is negative 6x. Now I'm going to do my insides. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And our last, negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 18. And if you do it right, folks, these two terms, I should use a different color, will always combine, okay? So I'm going to drop down that x squared. Negative 6x minus 3x is negative 9x plus 18. That is your final answer. Okay, let's try another one. I mean, in theory, folks, you're just double distributing, right? I mean, you're just taking a number and multiplying it through twice. So again, our first 2x times 3x would be 6x squared. 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. 1 times 3 is 3x. Our last 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Again, these two terms should match up. Those are our like terms, so we'll combine those together. So drop down that 6x squared. Negative 10x plus 3x should be negative 7x minus 5. I think this would be a great opportunity for you to right now stop the video and try number 9 on your own. Okay? Might as well try it, right? What do you got to lose? So I'm going to do it real quick. Again, first, x times x is x squared. Outside, x times 2 is 2x. Go through negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Again, if we did it correctly, these two in the middle will match up. So I'm going to drop down that x squared. 2x minus 4x is negative 2x. Drop down that negative 8. And there we go. Okay? So that is FOILing. Now I'm going to challenge you to one more thing, one more level further, okay? This time, we're going to take a binomial, so a two-term polynomial, by a trinomial, so 3 terms. It's kind of a lot to keep track of, but I think you can do it. So, again, you just got to be organized, and I honestly think it helps if you do those little rainbows. So you got to distribute this x to everything inside that trinomial. So let's start here. X times x squared would be x to the third. X times negative 3x would be negative 3x squared. And x times negative 2 would be negative 2x. Okay, so we multiplied the first term of our binomial by everything in that trinomial. Now let's do the same thing with our 5. So 5 times x squared would be 5x squared. 5 times negative 3x would be negative 15x. And then 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Now let's add our like terms. So again, just start with the largest exponent. Here's my x cubes. Do I have any other x cubes? Nope. So I have my x cubes. Go to your x squared. So I have negative 3 here and 2 there. Negative 3x squared plus 5x squared is 2x squared. Moving on to just our x's, negative 2 minus 15, negative 17x. And then drop down that negative 10. It's a lot to keep track of, folks, and a lot of places to make silly mistakes. So just take your time and write it out. You probably don't know what I'm going to say, but I think you should pause the video for this last example in our notes and try it on your own, and then compare with me when you're done, okay? So I'm going to get started on number 11 here. So again, start with your first term. X times x squared is x cubed. X times 5x is 5x squared. X times 8 is plus 8x. Go through with our 1. 1 times x squared is x squared. 1 times 5x is 5x. And 1 times 8 is 8. Combined our like terms. Start with our biggest exponent, which is a 3. Don't have any more, so I'm just going to drop down that x cubed. Moving on to our squares. 5x squared plus 1 more gives me a total of 6x squares. Let's see here. Go to our x's. 8x plus 5x gives us a total of 13x. And we can't combine that 8 with anything, so we're going to leave it there. Hopefully we matched. If we didn't match, give yourself a little star smiley face. Even if you didn't, give yourself a star smiley face and just change your answer to what it should be. Okay, thanks for watching. You guys are great. Goodbye.